Hi there, and welcome back, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Amy, and I have an unhealthy obsession with Formula One. And unfortunately, it is in fact the mid-season break, but that doesn't mean the content is going to stop. So today, it is our lovely mid-season rankings. Now, the way I normally structure my sort of mid-season recap videos is I'll go through each team, I'll compare the teammates, where they went well, where they did awful, actually go through the numbers, like the average qualifying gap and stuff like that. But I simply don't have time this year. Final semester of uni, it's stressful, okay? So today we're stealing a little bit of a page from Tomo's book and doing the rankings pretty much how he does them. I did my own opinions, and I did write down my list, my order before I watched that video, before people get any ideas. Yeah. I haven't really actually written down what I want to say for each person, so this is very much off the cuff. I have some criteria I'm ranking them on. How have they done compared to the teammate and the machinery? How experienced were they? Are they a rookie? Are they Fernando Alonso, essentially? How well they did in qualifying, how well they did in the races. Again, compared to other cars around them, how well were they doing? Compared to the previous standards they've set, how were they doing? And also note, we are excluding Daniel Ricciardo from this list. He's only been here 2 races. That's not enough to judge him from. And because I am biased, I would probably put him a lot higher than he should be. So, anyway, 20th we have Nick DeVries. It's kind of obvious. Do I have to say much? To be fair, he might not have been the worst performing driver on this list, but he did lose his seat, and that's all you really need to know. Yuki convincingly beat him throughout the less than half a season's teammates, and yeah, out of the sport, so therefore 20th. Okay, now to the actual comparable drivers who are still in the sport. In 19th we have K-Mag. It was a toss-up between him and another driver down in 19th. But Nico Hülkenberg coming into that Haas team and convincingly beating Kevin in qualifying from the jump. Hülkenberg has just been so much better at qualifying. And because the car is so slow in a race, they're very much sort of decides whether they're going to finish in the race, how well they qualify. Hülkenberg's going to fall back, but K-Mag's not going to make any progress through the race. I think if he wanted to be that team leader at Haas again, I know him and Grosjean a few years ago got into some little scuffle, but last year he was probably the team leader because, they had Schumacher. Hülkenberg coming in, I think, as more of a team leader with only half a season with that team. So yeah, K-Mag down in 19th. In 18th we have the rookie Logan Sargeant. Not too much to say. Again, rookie driver, first season. And that Williams does seem like a very difficult car to drive. I know Alex Albon, and we'll get to him, he's making it look absolutely incredible and easy, but in reality that Williams is probably very difficult to drive. So Logan's doing fairly well. I don't remember any major errors he's made, Latifi, Mazepin errors. Massive errors that are costing the team heaps of money. He is very much sticking to himself, getting his rookie season done, building up his experience, and I do think he's going to be here again next season, which is a good sign. Hopefully, I think he will. I think Williams will sign him again. 16 and 17, they're basically interchangeable, so I'm just going to say them together. In 17th, I put Bottas, and in 16th, I put Zhou. That Alfa Romeo, it's not great this season, is it? Awful Romeo. I very like that name for it. And neither of them have really done anything special. You know what I mean? They haven't there's no big moments that it was oh my god, look at the Alfa Romeos, look how well they're doing. It's either they're at the back again, or they're just there, they don't do anything in the races. And the reason why I put Bottas below Zhou, even though I think Bottas is slightly outperforming Zhou this season, is again that experience delta. Zhou, it's only his second year in the sport. What else? He's been around. He's been around the block a fair bit. So that's just my personal reasoning for putting them in that order. In 15th, we have Stroll. Hasn't been on the podium. I would have thought he would have been there by now, considering that car, and considering where Fernando has been able to put it pretty consistently to still only have 2 P4 finishes throughout the whole season, I believe. And I know the car is starting to fade off, it's starting to fall back into the clutches of Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren now. But yeah, I just sort of expected Stroll to at least get a podium by this point. That would have been nice, especially with when Fernando's putting it every week. So yeah, it's down to 15th. 14th, Sergio Perez. Wow. What do you even say? She should not even be close to down here on this list. Looking at the start of the season, again, people like title challenge, Perez and Max, and I'm like, sure. The first couple of races, he did really well. I think straight tracks obviously really suit his driving style, and he was starting to gain on Max, and then I don't know what happened. It was like he hit a wall, not literally hit a wall, metaphorically hit a wall, and yeah, he's lost all of that momentum, barely making it into he's been knocked out in Q1 and Q2 too many times, considering he's in a Red Bull. Let me remind you, Red Bull, he should really be doing a lot better. And I think, especially with Daniel coming in now, there's going to be a lot more pressure on him. So he's either going to sink or swim with that added pressure. Yeah, I do hope he picks it up though, because otherwise he could be in danger, of losing a seat. Seriously. The midfield has been really close this season. So in 13th, they did go Ocon. But again, these next 2 drivers are kind of interchangeable. Yeah. Alpine have been doing Alpine things. They really took a note out of Ferrari's book with the amount of stuff they've been changing recently. But yeah, Ocon hasn't, again, no massive major performances from him. Hasn't made it to podium. He's getting those lower points, which I think is what allowed Alpine to get ahead of McLaren at the start of the year, but they've fallen back behind them again with McLaren bringing those upgrades, and hopefully Alpine are going to bring some upgrades too, because having them in the fight would be a bit fun as well. In 12th, I've spoken about him a little bit, it's Nico Hülkenberg, and I think coming back this season, I didn't really know what to expect. Again, yeah, he's been out of the sport for a good few years, and K-Mag and him I thought would be more on the same level, so Hülkenberg has honestly outperformed my personal expectations I had for him. I don't know why I put him in my beginning season rankings. He's really outperforming that Haas, especially in qualifying. I think he's been into Q3 a few times, which is very good considering the machinery he's in. And yeah, I think the race pace is, again, a weakness of that car, not of Nico as a driver himself. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, next up we have Pierre Gasly, down in 11th. Yeah, again, not too much to say about him. Him and Ocon have been very close throughout the season. I think it might be a bit of recency bias as to why I put him above Ocon, just because he did get that podium in the sprint race last week at Spa. So yeah, I think very similar to Ocon, similar levels. They've been crashing into each other a bit. In 10th, I picked Yuki. Yuki has done so well this season. I haven't been on the Yuki hype train, but I might have to get on it. Unless he starts convincingly beating Daniel. Then I'll have to hop off it again. Everybody sort of expected him to do poorly against Nick, I think. Nick did have this reputation of being a really good driver. Obviously, Formula E world champion. He's not a bad driver, but I do think Yuki really took it to him and has really stepped into his own as a driver. He hasn't been making as many mistakes. Again, it is it's his third or fourth season of sport, I don't even remember. But yeah, he has stepped it up a level, and because Gasly was doing so well, Gasly was sort of convincingly beating him when he was at AlphaTauri, and now Yuki is convincingly beating And Vries sort of puts us to say about Gasly's level of driving as well. Again, maybe why I put him slightly above Ocon in this list. But yeah, Yuki doing really well, and I do hope he gets a few more points finishes instead of like 10th, 11th, 12th. Those are like his average finishes. So I hope he does a lot better in the second half of the season. Not as well as Daniel, just well. I want Daddy Boy to get a seat next year, so slow your roll on that one. In 9th, I put George Russell. I don't even, why did I do that? Yeah, George Russell in 9th. I think him and Carlos Sainz were having 8th, or again, very comparable to each other. Their teammates are doing, I think are doing a better job than both of them. And the cars sort of make it difficult for them to get on the podium. With that fight for second place in constructors, I think there are like 4 teams who can like realistically fight for a podium every single weekend now. So those 2 in particular really need to step up the game to be closer to their teammates going into the second half of the season. Russell in particular, just because Hamilton's been driving amazing, incredible because he's Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, particularly Russell needs to step it up a notch in my opinion. Sainz is closer to Leclerc, but yeah, going into the next half of the season, I hope to see them more on the podium. They're the young guns, so I will obviously cheer for them. In 7th, I put Alex Albon. Now, I have so much time for Albon. I subscribe for Williams these days as well, just because I went to their fan zone in London, and they're like a really good historical team, so it is nice that Albon is doing so well there. And I think really proving that he is a really good like quality driver, and that we didn't really get to see during his time at Red Bull because the Max Verstappen effect, as I will get into later. He's gotten a good amount of points as well for Williams. He's finished in the points a fair few times, and again in that car he qualifies really well, so yeah.
I am stupid. I am stupid. I switch off everything.
In 5th, another man I have so much time in the world for, Oscar Piastri. Wow. We knew he was good. But I didn't expect him to come out of the gates in his rookie season and perform as well as he has. To be that close to Lando on a consistent basis. Like when the car was bad, he was still pretty close to Lando. Now that the car's good, especially at Spa, we saw it, him like probably being on the same level as Lando that weekend, in my opinion. Getting his first podium in Formula 1 as a rookie. I know it's not a proper race podium, it's a sprint race podium, but my prediction, by the end of the season, we will see this man on a podium. It will happen, mark my words. And that's why he's in 5th, I think. Even when his machinery wasn't the best, he was still performing well, he was still sticking with it. He's so like professional and well-spoken at such a young age. And yeah, it really shows how poorly Daniel was doing last season, eh? Like, Oscar really called him out on that one. Ooh, very proud of him, I'm very happy with what he's doing. And it's really good to have 2 Aussies on the grid, and especially one doing as well as Oscar is. In 4th place, we have Lewis Hamilton, and again, the next 3 very interchangeable, so yeah, 4th place, Lewis Hamilton. I think he has once again stepped it up this year. Again, I think he's outdriving that car, but I do think Lewis just always outdrives the car. Like, you always have those drivers who are going to be up there no matter what, and he's obviously something very special, so it's no surprise he's up here on this list. I think last year was not his best season in the sport, admittedly. And this year, has he complained about the car quite a bit? Yeah, but he is still doing really well. Where is he in the standings? I'm pretty sure he's 4th in the standings, right? In 3rd place, I did put Lando Norris. It was a toss-up between him and Lewis for 3rd, but I went with Lando. I might be slightly biased as a McLaren fan, but I think he's doing really well. And again, tough start to the year for the team, but he's pulled through and proved that he can still qualify up there, and I am so happy that they're back. So happy. Podium at his home Grand Prix was pretty special. So yes, 3rd place for Mr. Norris. In 2nd, I went with Fernando Alonso. Obviously, Aston Martin at the start of the season were absolutely on fire, And even though the car has sort of fallen off, hopefully because they had more ATR time, they should be able to bring it back. But it is great to see him up there fighting again and proving that even though he's in his 40s, he can still compete with the 21-year-olds, okay? Full faith in Fernando Alonso. I didn't really like him during his time at McLaren and Renault and back then, but now I like him. I like his personality more. I think he's more laid back, he's more chill, and he's doing great, getting several podiums, coming third in the championship still, despite Aston falling off. So good job, Fernando. And then in first place, it is obviously... I'm kidding, it's Max Verstappen. I think he's competing in Formula 1. Everyone else is in Formula 1.5 at the moment. That car and him just absolutely click, and I think I literally cannot see him not winning for the rest of the season. Like, or at least being on the podium, past some like major mistake or like technical fault. I think him and that Red Bull team at the moment, unstoppable. Absolutely bloody unstoppable. And I, as a Red Bull fan, am loving it. That's all I have to say. I don't think there's much you can say about Max other than keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, there's a reason why he's number one by so much. Yeah. And that brings this video to a wrap. Sorry, it was a bit all over the place. I didn't get time to properly script this again. Uni. What are your mid-season rankings? Are there any that I was very controversial on? I don't think there were, like, genuinely. Maybe there was. Maybe there's a few that I was a bit controversial on, but I am slightly biased and I acknowledge my biases, okay? And yeah, that's it. If you liked the video, then leave a like and press the red button to subscribe for more F1 and motorsport related content. And I'll see you all in the next one. Laters!